Hi, so in this topic, we are going to look at social media ROI. So, what is an ROI? Simply put, ROI is return on investment. So, using an ROI, we are seeing whether it makes sense for us to invest our money in social media marketing. And why we need to do that is because in a company, everything needs to be accounted for. And because for every piece of the budget, there are multiple platforms or multiple activities which are competing to get that budget. So there's a social media, there's online advertising, there's offline advertising, sales, marketing, etc. So there are multiple people competing to get the budget, and the as a brand owner you need to understand which is giving you the right returns so that you can put more money behind things which are working for you and cut down money which are not working for you. So that's why ROI is very important. So I'll tell you how to actually calculate ROI, and it's very simple. So ROI, simply put, is revenue minus cost divided by the cost of running that operation. Now, revenue. So what is revenue? So revenue is essentially sales. So if you're an e-commerce company, then of course it's the sales number of the value of the number of units sold. But let's say if you're not a e-commerce company, so or for example, you are say Mercedes Benz, and you are trying to through social media, you're trying to book test drives, which is more like booking leads or getting leads. In those cases, you have to impute the revenue. What it essentially means is that you have to build a model that says that, look, for every 100 people who book a test drive, 5 end up buying, and if the average cost price or sales price for my product is so much money, so much money into the number of buys is the number of revenue that I get from every 100 leads. So my revenue per lead is so much. So whether it's direct sales or leads, you have to come up with a model that tells you that, if this is going to be the revenue, if this is what we are looking at. Even for branding. So branding on awareness campaigns, let's say you are selling your Coke or your Pepsi. Again, even in that case, you have to build a model which says that, look, if for every 1 million people who saw this ad in which Ranbir Kapoor was there, maybe 5% of them may end up buying Pepsi, and out of which half of them or 25% of them would be those people who would have never bought Pepsi, who would have bought Coke. So you have to build a model to understand what is the revenue that you are generating additionally from the marketing activities. So the other part of the story is cost, and cost is actually essentially two costs. One is cost of campaign, the direct, indirect cost of running a campaign, which is the media cost, like if you're paying for buying space from Facebook, whatever. So that's the cost. A cost of people who are managing the campaign, like an agency, their cost of any technology that you're using, like you're using Hootsuite, that cost. So all those costs have to be accounted for, plus the cost of products sold. So, like for example, if you're selling your iPhone for 60,000, but iPhone costs you 50,000. So you have to account the 50,000 here. So direct costs, indirect costs, everything has to be accounted for. So in revenue, e-commerce, like we already discussed, like e-commerce sales is directly, like revenue minus cost of goods sold. Hi, so in this topic, we are going to look at social media ROI. Now, what is an ROI? ROI is return on investment. And the reason we need to figure out the ROI for social media is because social media as a channel is competing against other channels of promotion for the marketing budget. And so as CMO or as a CEO of the company, you would want to understand which channel is getting better returns for you so that you can allocate the budget accordingly. So like for any channel, you also have to figure out the ROI for social media channel. So let's understand what is an ROI and how can we actually calculate the ROI for the social media channel. So simply put, ROI is nothing but revenue minus cost divided by the total cost that you're incurring to run that channel. Now revenue here is sales. It's pretty simple, sales for an e-commerce company. It can also be imputed revenue for leads, branding or awareness campaigns. So not all campaigns are e-commerce campaigns using social media. Some of the campaigns are just about building the awareness, or some of the campaigns are about generating leads for test drives for Maruti Suzuki that you are selling. So in the cases wherein the direct revenue cannot be done, you need to build a model. And the model should tell you that for every 1,000 people who see your ad, how many people are actually going to buy the product and what is the average revenue from the product. So you get to know what is the average revenue that you're getting for every 1,000 people or 10,000 people or million people who see your ad. So you need to work out the unit economics from a revenue perspective. It's either direct in terms of e-commerce or imputed in terms of the branding, awareness and lead generation campaigns that you're running. Then the other side is cost, and here you have to look at the direct cost of campaign plus cost of products sold. And cost of campaign can also be direct and indirect cost. And we are going to elaborate more on the costing piece in our next slide. But before that, let's look at revenue. So like I was telling you, like sales, if you are actually selling the products and you're running campaigns to sell the products, then sales is very easy to calculate. You get everything. And that's what you need to do. Then for real estate education kind of companies which are into lead generation, you really have to figure out this equation. So revenue there is number of leads that you're generating multiplied by the conversion rate. So conversion rate is the rate at which the leads are getting converted into a buy. So that is the conversion rate multiplied by average value of each conversion. So that's going to give you the imputed revenue. Then there is also a luxury brand or brand wherein you are running it for branding awareness, like Coke, Pepsi will run their campaigns for awareness. There also you have to impute from engagement or exposure the amount of revenue, which essentially means that you have to build an understanding as to, if let's say your ad is seen by 1 million people, what is the incremental, what is the amount of people who actually end up buying your product. And you can run a study, you can do a research if there is nothing, or you can use some benchmark. So those are the things that you need to do. The other part of ROI is cost. And here, like, you have to look at the campaign cost, and here you need to build into the media cost of campaign, like money you are paying to Facebook, etc. The people cost, it can also be an agency if you've hired an agency, or even internally you have certain people managing your campaigns. You have to take their time into consideration, their cost into consideration. And then finally the technology costs. So you may be using a platform like Hootsuite and multiple other such platforms. So you have to figure out how much money are you incurring. And so all of it will get into the campaign cost. The other cost is cost of goods sold. So for example, how much is it costing? How much are the goods costing to you that you are selling? So for example, if you're selling iPhones, how much do those iPhones cost you? So your total cost is the campaign cost, direct and indirect, and the cost of goods sold. So that will come, both of this will together tell you the cost. And if you use the formula, ROI, revenue minus cost, divided by cost into 100 will give you the ROI percentage. So my suggestion to you is that whenever you start social media marketing campaigns or any advertising campaign, first figure out this model. It's easy to figure out for an e-commerce company, not so easy to figure out for a lead generation, for a branding company, but put in the effort, build a model, get it verified, get it vetted by the people who matter in the company, get their buy-in before you start putting in money into your social media. Because today or tomorrow somebody or I'm sure people will ask you about ROI, and you should be ready with a model and with an understanding of what is the ROI, one, and number two is whether the ROI is positive or negative, and number three is how is it trending, is it going up, coming down. So thank you very much.